Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratah chartheshvabhijñasvarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo varimrudam yatha vinimayah yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi Satchidanandarupaya Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava tam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Yes. So Lord Brahmājī meditated on Bhagavan for 1,000 divine years, and as a result he experienced that he had reached Vaikuntha-loka. So Bhagavan was seated in all his majesty with all the 25 principles bowing down to him, all the 6 wells ready to serve him. So this is only to say that consciousness supports everything that is of matter. But in a story form, it is put like this. Bhagavan sitting on a throne and all the principles ready to serve him, etc. Well, then what happened? When Brahmājī saw Bhagavan, so what happened to him? Tad darshana pariplutantaraha Hrikshyastanu prema bharashrulocanah nanama padambujamasya vishwasraga yat paramahamsena pathadhigamyate. Clear? So when Brahmājī saw Bhagavan, what happened to Brahmājī? Tad darshanāhlāda pariplutantaraha. He was bathed in bliss, filled with devotion for Lord. He was bathed in bliss. And how did it express? Hrishyatanuhu, horripulations. Prema bharashulocanaha, eyes filled with tears. And then he placed his head at the lotus feet of the Lord. And Bhagavan, it is said, Bhagavan was so happy with Brahmājī for the kind of tapas he had done. It is said here, Bhagavan held his hand out of overflowing love for Brahmājī. He held his hand because what did he see in Brahmājī? Praja visarge nija shasanarhanam. he saw in Brahmājī the one who is deserving to obey his command. So Brahmājī, in Brahmājī, Bhagavan saw a deserving person to obey his orders. And what is the order? Praja Visarge, for the creation. A person who is perfectly disciplined, obedient, in tune with Bhagavan. Therefore, Bhagavan held his hand. And then what did he say? Tvayaham toshitas samyak veda garbhasi srikshaya chiram bhrutena tapasa dustoshah kūta-yogīnām. Oh Brahmājī, I am very much pleased with you. The kind of tapas you have done. I am very, very difficult for the kūta-yogīs, perverse yogis. I am very, very difficult to attain. My darshan is very rare. This darshan which you are having, this vision which you are having is very, very rare. You have come to this world because of my grace. You are having my darshan because of my grace. Because just by listening tapa, in fact, I was the one who had instructed you to do tapas. It was I. You had heard my voice. So though you had not seen me, you have done this intense tapas only based on that faith. So therefore I am extremely happy with you, because of which you are able to have my vision. Now here, again as I said, the importance of faith is highlighted. I had heard a very nice story. So there was this person who was climbing the mountaineer. He was climbing the mountain higher. And it was dark in the night. Somewhere he fell down. He lost the balance and started falling down. It was pitch darkness. He was not knowing where he was going, what was happening to him. Only this was known, that he was falling. And suddenly he found, after a long time of fall, suddenly there was some branch of some tree. His dress or something got stuck to it. He started hanging. Immediately he caught hold of that branch. Now it was very dark. He was not seeing anything. He only knew that it was some branch. Now how long to hold on? So then as a last resort, he said, Bhagavan, save me. Bhagavan, save me. Then he heard a voice. Drop yourself. What did he hear? Drop yourself. No, he started thinking, if I drop, I am dead. Somehow I have got hold of this branch, and now this voice says, drop it. He did not drop. He thought it is some mental hallucination because of which I heard this. He did not drop. Now in the night, it was becoming colder and colder. And ultimately it is said, he froze to death holding on to the branch. The next day morning, the villagers collected him. He was just 2 feet above the ground. But just 2 feet above the ground. A very nice story, a touching story, but it's a fact. When you cry for help, whatever intuitively you feel, you must do it. One army person had told me another story. So he was posted in Leh Ladakh. Leh Ladakh, it's full of ice. So he was posted there. Now the helicopter cannot go after a particular height. It can only go up to a particular height. After that it can't. So they have to drop this person, and then the person has to walk. So what happened that day was, he was dropped at a particular position and suddenly he lost the way. Now just imagine, everywhere there is only ice, there is no way. He lost the way. There was some camp, he did not know where the camp was. He was totally lost. Out of helplessness, he just cried out, Krishna. He himself told me this story. He was lost. 5 or 10 minutes he would die. He just cried out from the depth of his heart, loudly. Only he was there. Total eyes everywhere. He just cried Krishna. 2-3 times he cried, and suddenly something from within asked him to go in a particular direction. He just kept walking, and there he found the army camp. So such instances are there. There is no rhyme or reason. You can't explain it with logic. Some intuition from within asks you to do, you have to just do it. Anyway, proceeding further. So Bhagavan was very happy with him because Brahmājī, without any kind of indication, he did this intense tapas only on the faith of that sound which he heard. So then Bhagavan says, Tapo me hridayam sakshat. Tapas is my very core of my being. It is my very nature. That is why whoever does tapas, surrendering unto me, I am very pleased with him. Srajami tapasai vedam, grasami tapasa punaha, bibharmi tapasa vishwam, viryam me duscharam tapaha. I create this world with tapas, I sustain this world with tapas, I dissolve, destroy this world with tapas. My strength is tapas. And it is true, in this world, whoever has attained whatever, it is only because of tapas. Whether it is in the field of science, whether it is in the field of medicine, sports, arts, music, philosophy, whatever it is only by tapas. Tapas means concentrated effort. Giving up everything, keeping that particular only one goal in mind. That is called tapas. And anyone who does tapas, he is surely going to succeed in his field. So therefore Bhagavan says, tapas is the very core of my being. Now Brahmājī, you ask whatever you want. I am the Lord of all boons. I will give you whatever you want. But you have attained the ultimate. You have seen me. Now what does Brahmājī ask? Brahmājī says, Bhagavan sarva bhutanam adhyaksho vasthito guham vedahya pratiruddhena prajnanena chikirshitam. Bhagavan, you are the very indweller of all beings. So you clearly know what actually I want. But even then, I tell it. So what is it that he wants? So there are 4 requests given by Brahmājī. The first request is, Bhagavan, I want to know your Saguna Rupa and Nirguna Rupa. Saguna Rupa, Brahmājī is already seeing it. But I also want to know your Nirguna Rupa. This is first request. What actually you are? What is your nature? Nirguna Rupa means what is your nature? The form which I am seeing is what I have meditated. But who are you? What is your actual nature? The second question he asks is, Bhagavan, how do you create this world, sustain and dissolve this world? Just like the spider bringing out the web from itself, spinning the web and again taking the web into itself, in the same way you create this world. How do you do it? Because now that you want me to do the creation, I must have the knowledge of creation. The third question he asks is, Bhagavan, it's a request. The third one is a request. The request is, Bhagavan, now that you want me to do the creation, I will, like an obedient servant, though you have held my hand like a friend, but for me, you are Bhagavan, you are my master. For you, I may be your friend, but for me, you are the master alone. So I am ready to do whatever you say. Without any kind of negligence, I will definitely do it, but please tell me the way in which, even when I am engaged in the work of creation, I don't get bound by that particular action. Because action has got the tendency to bind. Whenever we perform action, that action can bind us. So Bhagavan, please ensure that I don't get bound by my own actions. This is the third request. And the fourth request is, Bhagavan, now that I am going to create all the living beings, so naturally I am the first living being. So being the first living being, definitely there will be arising in me an arrogance, an ego, that I have created everyone. Bhagavan, please promise me that this arrogance will not be there in me. Samunnatha madojamaninaha. Samunnatha madaha. Not simple arrogance. That pride that I have created the entire living being with my power. This ego might creep into me. Please ensure that this ego doesn't even touch me. I never become proud of my deed. So what are the four? Number one, Bhagavan, I want to know your Saguna and Nirguna Rupa. Number two, I want to know how to proceed with creation. What is this creation? Number three, let not this action of creation bind me. Number four, let not this action of creation create pride in me. So then what does Bhagavan say? Bhagavan says, okay, tathastu. But for that, something is necessary. What is it necessary? So now Bhagavan gives the highest knowledge of Vedanta. Jnanam paramaguhyam me yat vijñāna samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihāna gadidam Māyā. Brahmājī, now I am going to give you paramaguhyam jnanam. Paramaguhyam means supreme secret, the greatest knowledge I am going to give you. It is not mere knowledge, vijñāna samanvitam. It is not mere knowledge, but it is an experiential knowledge. Experiential knowledge is called wisdom. So, jnanam and vijñānam I am going to give you. That knowledge which can be experienced, I am going to give you. I am going to give you yavanaham yatha bhavaha yadrupa gunakarmakaha tathaiva tattva vijñānam astute madanugrahat. What is my nature? What is my form? What is my guna? What is my karma? Everything I am going to tell you. And may you gain this knowledge by my grace. And now comes the CHATUSHLOKީ BHÀGAVATAM. If you say summarize the entire Bhagavatam, how can you summarize? So here are the 4 verses. It is called as CHATUSHLOKީ BHÀGAVATAM. So this is Bhagavatam given by Bhagavan to Brahmājī. So this is the initial, it is the source of the Jnāna Gangā. So what is the knowledge given? Only 4 verses. The first one, Ahameva samevagre nanyat yat sadasat param paschādaham yadetacca yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Agre ahameva asam. In the beginning of creation, before the creation began, only I was there, who is Sat Asat Param, beyond cause and effect. Now don't say that I am the cause. No, I am beyond all this cause effect, this thing. In the beginning of creation, before creation began, I only was. Paschat aham yadetacca. Once the creation began, after the creation came into existence, only I am. So before the creation, I alone was. During the creation, I alone am. Yaha avashishyeta sosmyaham. Once the creation goes into dissolution, I alone will be. Bas. This is the knowledge. Because Brahmājī was such a high seeker of knowledge, he understood. Before the creation, I alone was. During the creation also, I alone am. After this pralaya also, I alone will be. This is the ultimate knowledge. What does it mean? The whole Srishti, Sthiti, Laya is an illusion. The whole illusion is playing on me, the substratum. It is something like saying, before the movie also, the screen alone was. During the movie also, the screen alone is. After the movie also, the screen alone will be. And is the screen in any way tainted by the movie? Movie fire, movie water? Not at all. Because it's a total illusion. Illusion can never affect the truth. And what is the truth? Aham, I, Atma. But then Bhagavan, we see this creation, etc. Listen. Rutertham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmane tad vidyadatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. Then what about the creation that we are seeing? That is only my Māyā. And what is my Māyā? Rute artham yat pratiyeta. My Māyā's power is such that what is not there, it shows. What is not there, it shows. And what is there, it hides. Rate artham. Artham means essence. So what you see is not there. What is there, you don't see. Avarana vikshepa. Avarana means covering what is there. Vikshepa means projecting what is not there. In Gurudev's language, non-apprehension and misapprehension. What is there, you don't apprehend. What is not there, you apprehend. This is the power of my Māyā. And what is the example given? Yatha abhasaha yatha tamaha. Abhasaha means reflection. In the mirror you see the reflection. You see the whole thing, but actually there is nothing. The reflection you see, but it is not there. And in darkness you don't see, but things are there. In darkness you don't see anything, but everything is there. Very many examples can be given. What are the other examples you can give? The snake on the rope. What is not there is seen. What is there is not seen. This is the power of my Māyā. The blueness in the sky. The mirage waters. These are all standard examples of Vedanta. Post and the ghost. That is Gurudev's example. Bhagavan Shankaracharya also takes that example. Post and the ghost. What is not there, you see. What is there, you don't see. Now the question is, how to apply it in our life? What is not there, you see, meaning individuality. I am a man. I am a woman. I am an engineer. I am a doctor. I am this. I am that. Actually, there is nothing. What is there? Consciousness. You don't see. Napratiyeta cha atmani. See, examples we understand, but we forget to apply. What is there is only consciousness. Just look into yourself. What is present is only consciousness. You are just conscious, isn't it? What is present is only consciousness. You are all conscious. We are all conscious of the world, conscious of sound, conscious of the body. There is only consciousness. But now what have we done? We have superimposed our own ideas, our own personality upon this consciousness. Bas, that's all. Just look within and experience what is there. There is only consciousness. But then, We think of this consciousness as a man, as a woman, as I am so and so. Now these are all mere thoughts superimposed upon consciousness. And who is this consciousness? Bhagavan says it is me. So even when the creation is there, really speaking, only Bhagavan is there. Even now, even if you are an ignorant person, even now what is there is only consciousness. So this verse can become a MAHΑMANTRA for meditation. At the seat of meditation, just make it a practice to pay attention to consciousness. This is the way. Pay attention to consciousness wherever you are. Just pay attention to the witness in you. When you are seated for meditation, just pay attention to consciousness who is just watching the thoughts. This is all you have to do. You are never away from God. You have only ignored God. That's all. Consciousness has been ignored. What is seen in consciousness has been given the greatest importance. You have choice. What is the choice? Either you can pay attention to consciousness or you can pay attention to what is seen in consciousness. We are all so engrossed in seeing what is seen in consciousness that we forgot that there is a consciousness which is illumining everything to you, which is making you aware of everything. Bhagavan is saying, pay attention to awareness, that is me. It is upon this awareness the whole world is existing. This consciousness will remain whether there is Srishti, Sthiti or Laya of this universe. It has nothing to do with these happenings in the universe. It's an illusion. Consciousness will remain. Right? Māyā can never affect the truth, just like the movie can never affect the screen. Now what is the screen here? Consciousness. In fact, even when you die, you will be conscious of the dropping the body. Meaning, there is no death. There is not a single person who has experienced death. Death means non-existence. You can never experience non-existence. You may experience non-existence of the body, but you will never become non-existent. There is nobody who has experienced non-existence. When I was a small child, I used to go to this swimming pool, temple swimming pool used to be there. I was in 6th standard. I vividly remember everything. So after taking bath in the pond, playing a lot of time, 1 hour, 2 hours with other friends, your body becomes very soft when you are remaining in water for long. So now in our village there used to be a tree. So from one branch you jump to the other tree and then swing. This we used to do. So immediately after going into the pond, etc., I came and I jumped to catch the other. Now what happened? I slipped. It just went swinging and I fall straight on my back. I clearly remember I lost consciousness. The sound others heard, because thud sound came. According to them, according to their version, I had lost consciousness. But I was very clearly saying that I was a conscious being. Consciousness did not go. This might have happened some 20-25 years back. Even now that experience remains. Consciousness was there, but for others, I was finished. There was no motion in the body. And then they shook me and then I came back. And they were saying, you were lying down. But my experience was, consciousness was, at that time I did not know this, consciousness was the truth. But today when I read the scriptures, I come, oh. I lost my body consciousness, but I did not lose consciousness. So it is the same thing with death also. So this truth will ever remain with you. Even while living, if you practice paying attention to this truth, even after death, that samskāra will remain to pay attention to this truth. This is called remembering God at the time of death. So this practice of paying attention to consciousness has to be cultivated. Now Bhagavan says how this consciousness is the ultimate truth. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuteshu chavacheshvano pravishtanya pravishtani tatha teshu nateshvaham etavadeva jitnyasyam tattva jitnyasunatmanah anvayavyatirekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. How to know that this consciousness is the ultimate truth of this world? Bhagavan says, use Anvaya Vyatireka method. Now what is this Anvaya Vyatireka method? Find out what is the support of everything. Whatever remains as the ultimate support is the truth. Now let me first explain what is this Anvaya Vyatireka method. When A exists, when entity A exists, then entity B exists. When entity A doesn't exist, B doesn't exist. If such a law prevails, then B depends on A. Simple. When entity A is there, B is there. When entity A is not there, B is not there. Therefore, we can conclude B depends on A. So when we say entity A is there, B is there, that is called Anvaya, the one which follows. Anvaya means following. So B follows A. When A is not there, B also is not there. So this is called Vyatireka. To give an example, when fire is there, smoke is there. When fire is not there, smoke is not there. Therefore we can say smoke depends on fire. Smoke has no existence other than fire. Clear? One more example. The example which Bhagavan has given. Mahanti bhutani bhuteshu pravishtani na pravishtani. This body, wherever the body is there, 5 elements are there. Correct? Wherever the body is there, 5 elements are there. Wherever the body is not there, 5 elements are there. That, what does it mean? Who depends on whom? Body depends on elements. Elements don't depend on body. So who is the support? 5 elements are the support. Pravishtani, apravishtani. Elements have gone into the body. Body exists because of elements. But even when the elements have entered into the body, elements don't depend on the body. Even when the body perishes, elements remain. 5 elements. Therefore, elements support the body. Clear? Very many examples can be given. Gold and the ornaments, famous example. Even when the ornaments are changed, gold remains. In and through the ornaments, what remains is only gold, isn't it? In and through the pot, what remains is only clay. Before pot also clay was there. During pot also clay is there. After the pot breaks also, clay will be there. So what supports what? Clay supports the pot. Gold supports the ornament. The elements support the being. So here it is said, pravishtani apravishtani tatha teshu na teshu aham. In the same way, I pervade the whole creation, but I am not affected by the creation. Creation depends on me, but I don't depend on the creation. A similar verse comes in the 9th chapter. Yes. The whole world depend on me, but I don't depend on them. Actually, they also don't depend on me. This is the way 9th chapter says. Similarly here. Teshu pravishtani naham teshu pravishtani. I pervade them, but actually I don't pervade them. In the sense, I am not affected by them. I am the support. So in this way do Anvaya Vyatireka. Now let us come to the teaching. Whole world is seen where? In the mind. The whole world is seen in the mind. Who supports whom? The mind supports the world. How do you know? Apply Anvaya Vyatireka technique. Whenever the mind is, world is. Whenever the mind is not, world is not. In deep sleep, mind is not, world is not. But then someone may say, world is not for me, but for others who are awake, it is there. No. But for others also, where is the world? In their mind only. Everybody in this world is seeing the world in their mind alone. So therefore, the world needs the mind for its existence. Mind doesn't need the world for its existence. For example, in the dream, the world is not seen, but the mind is there. The world depends on the mind. Mind is nothing but flow of thoughts. And where do the thoughts reside? In consciousness. You are conscious of every thought. A thought is like a ripple in consciousness. You are aware. So who is supporting the thought? Consciousness. This consciousness is the truth. So what is the proof that it is the truth? The proof is abadhyatvam satyatvam. The proof is whatever is the truth, it remains all the time. So here the example is given is, Bhagavan says, before creation I was there, during creation I am there, after creation also I will be there. In the same way, now let us take our own example. In the waking state also consciousness is there. In the dream state also consciousness is there. In the deep sleep state also consciousness is there. How can we say in deep sleep consciousness is there? You are conscious of nothing. You say, I slept well. If you have to say, I slept well, what does it mean? Experiencer was there. Experiencer of nothingness was there. So it means consciousness was there. So in all the three stages, there is one thing which is ever present, that is consciousness. It can never be negated. It can never be denied. It can only be ignored. And who is it? It is me, Bhagavan says. Etavadeva jitnyasam. This is the only thing you need to know. Nothing else is needed. Tattva jitnyasunatmanaha. The one who is a tattva jitnyasu, desirous of knowing the ultimate truth. This is the only thing he need to know. What is that? This consciousness in you is Bhagavan. So at the seat of meditation, what happens? At the seat of meditation, you have this consciousness on one side, you have the thoughts on the other side. At the seat of meditation, never go after the thoughts. When you are going after the thoughts, you are going after the world. When you are going after consciousness, when you are paying attention to consciousness, you are seeking God. When you wander along with the thoughts, you are seeking the world. choice is yours. Do you want the world or do you want God? You can't have both, only one. The more and more you identify with the mind, the more and more thoughts will multiply. You are going towards the world. The more and more you start witnessing the thought, as the thoughts witness, the thoughts dies down. What remains is only consciousness. Then you are choosing Bhagavan. So according to the scripture, who is a sannyasi? The one who chooses consciousness is a sannyasi. The one who chooses the world in the form of thoughts, he is a samsari. Sannyasi versus samsari. Sannyasi is not someone who puts an ochre color robe, puts bhasma, jata, rudraksha. No. Definition of a sannyasi is very clear in our scriptures. At the seat of meditation, what is your experience? Are you having a wandering mind? Then you are a samsari. Are you holding on to consciousness? Firmly abiding in consciousness? Then you are a sannyasi. How much love do you have for God? This will prove. If your mind is wandering in the world, your love for world is more than your love for God. If you can witness these thoughts, remain as an indifferent observer, firmly abiding in consciousness, then your love for God is much more than the world. So at the seat of meditation, everything becomes clear to you. So what is the end result of perfect meditation? Your mind firmly abides in this consciousness. What is the experience? Bhava shunya sad bhava susthitihi bhavana bhidha pavani mata. Bas. Bhava shunya sad bhava susthitihi. Firm abidance in the state of consciousness. It is bhava shunya, free from all kinds of thoughts. Thoughts cannot exist there because the moment you witness the thought, thoughts die. A person who is a devotee of God, he is able to witness the thought because he has that much of dispassion. He is not interested in what the mind brings it to him. He is not interested in the contents of the mind. He is interested only in God. So therefore Bhagavan says, this is all about spirituality. Etavadeva jitnyasyam. Finished. Tattva jitnyasuna atmanaha. The one who is desirous to know this tattvam, truth. This is all he needs to know. That this consciousness is the ultimate truth. It is the very substratum. It is the only reality. So now Brahmāji's questions are answered. This is called CHATUSHLOKī BHÀGAVATAM. Everything is over here. Now Bhagavan, I had asked some questions to you that my action should not get... Okay, I understand your Nirguna Swarupa. I also understand that there is no creation. It's an illusion. But what about my other two questions? What is the request? Bhagavan, I should not get bound by my actions. Also, I should not be egoistic. Bhagavan says, practice this and these two will drop. What has to practice? Etanmatam samatishta paramena samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpesho na vimukhyati karhichit. Just practice this. Samatishta. Practice. Etan matam. This knowledge. Paramena samadhina. With supreme concentration. What has to be practiced? Pay attention to the truth. Don't get deluded by illusion. And what is the truth? Consciousness is the truth. Pay attention to it. If you do this, kalpa vikalpeshu, let the kalpas come and go. na vimuhyati, you will never get deluded. Ultimate knowledge. Now the question is, how will this practice make me free from the defects of action? Now remember, every one of us, we are facing the same problem. In this world we come, we have to perform our duties. Whatever Brahmājī has asked, it is applicable to us. We have duties, we have responsibilities, but these actions have the problem. What is the problem? It binds us. How can we perform action in such a way that it doesn't bind us? Now, here we have to go to the fundamentals of Vedanta, especially the 4th chapter. Karmani akarmayah pasyet, akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manusyeshu sayuktah kritsna karmakrit. Now the question is, when I perform action, how can I remain actionless? Many people think actionlessness means not performing any action. No. Actionlessness is not performing action. Even while performing action, how can you remain actionless? This is a challenge. Now how can you do that? Let us brush up our fundamentals of Vedanta. What are the 2 principles? Consciousness and matter. Body, mind, intellect, they are matter. What is consciousness? It is consciousness. So consciousness and matter. What is the nature of consciousness? It is akarta, it is abhokta. All actions happen at the body, mind, intellect level. You cannot stop it. Actionlessness doesn't mean making the body actionless. No. Actions will happen at the body level. Actions will happen at the mind and intellect level. You can't stop it. You need not stop it. That is not what we meant by actionless. No. Then what is this actionlessness? What is the job of consciousness? Consciousness has only one job: giving sentiency to BMI, body, mind, intellect. And even this giving sentiency is not a verb. It is not a verb means what? It is its nature. There is no doing involved. Just like when the fire cooks, there is no doing involved. It is the nature of the fire to give heat. When we say it is the nature of the fire to give heat, what does it mean? Fire doesn't do anything. In its very presence, in that very state of being, cooking is happening. Very important point. A very good example given by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya to clarify this point. When fire cooks food, it does nothing. Remaining in its state of being, cooking is happening. When I say I am walking, it is a verb. I may walk, I may not walk. It is not my nature. When we say bird is flying, it may fly, it may not fly. It is a verb. But when we say fire is cooking, there is no choice for fire whether to cook or not to cook. It has to give heat. It is its nature. So whenever something is expressing its nature, there is no action involved. So what is the nature of consciousness? It lends sentiency. So even when it is lending sentiency, no action is involved. So on one side, consciousness is lending sentiency. On the other side, BMI is functioning, performing action. Now, when is action born? I, the consciousness, when I identify with the body, mind, intellect, properties of body, mind, intellect becomes as though my property. Remember the identification theory. Now what is the property of body? Performing action is the property of body. Now this performing action, I feel as though it is my action. I feel as though it is as though I am doing it. Why do I feel I am doing it? Because there is identification. Actually, I am the non-doer, but because I am identified with the performing body, I feel as though actions are performed by me. It is only because of identification. But suppose I am identified with consciousness, then what will happen? I will experience the property of consciousness. What is the property of consciousness? Non-doer. So the question is, when is the action born? When is karma born? When consciousness identifies with the body, mind, intellect, karmas of the body, mind, intellect as though become my karma. So the moment consciousness identifies with the BMI, Jiva is born, Karta is born, Karma is born, Karma Phala is born, Bhokta is born. The Anartha Parampara, the series of calamities start with identification. You identify with BMI, which does all actions. And the moment you identify, those karma becomes your karma as though. And now since that it has become your karma, you have to go through karma phala. The karta becomes bhokta. Now what is being said here? Just pay attention to this consciousness. Etan matam samatishta. Pay attention to the truth. And what is the truth? You are consciousness. You are the witness who is witnessing the BMI functioning in their own field. Just like the heart is beating, you are just aware. Just like the kidney is functioning, you are just aware. You don't know anything, you need not know anything. In the same way, thoughts are happening, body is functioning, everything functioning, and you are just the witness who is just witnessing. Indifferent witness you are. So practice this. Practice this means what? Again and again shift the attention to consciousness. Never get identified with the BMI. Once you are firmly rooted in consciousness, what will be your experience? Naiva kinchit karomiti yuktaha manyeta tattvavit. I don't do anything. In my presence, things are happening. This is the knowledge of all great Mahatmas. Navadware puredehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. Remaining in the city of 9 gates, what is the understanding of the wise person? I don't do anything. I don't force anyone to do anything. Remaining in one's own self. Reveling in one's own self. There, the experience is actionlessness. Because consciousness is by nature actionless. So how to remain unaffected by karma? Don't identify with the BMI who is doing karma. It is not your nature. Really speaking, you never do any karma. You are only a witness. It is only ignorance which makes you feel that you are performing the action. This is the knowledge. This is the highest philosophy. This is the core of Bhagavad Gita. This is the core of Upanishads. This is the core of every spiritual text. And the moment you come to know that you don't do anything, karma is dead, jiva bhava is dead, bhokta is dead, there is no more karma phala, then therefore there is no more Janana Marana Chakra. Finished. It's over. Such a person is called Jivan Muktaha, liberated even while living. Right. Etan matam samatishta. Your job is only one. Firmly hold on to me, who is the very consciousness in you. So it is nothing but Tat Tvam Asi Mahavakya. Bhagavan says, I am none other than your own self. But then what about this Vaikuntha and all this Chatur, 4 hands and all? That is my Saguna Rupa. The true form, if you want to know, it is none other than your own self. Tat Tvam Asi. And once you know this, there is no more, getting bound by action. Again, there is no more question of ego getting raised. Why? There is no ego now. When is the ego born? Consciousness identified with the BMI is the ego. The moment your attention turns towards consciousness, there is no more identification. And since there is no more identification, there is no more jiva bhava. Then who will be proud of what? What a beautiful. And just in 4. Questions were 4, answer also is 4. And in fact, answer is only 1. The other 3 are only the explanations. This is Bhagavan. To the point. All questions answered. So what is the message? You know yourself, everything will be clear to you. Cosmic puzzle is solved the moment you know yourself. And giving this instruction, Bhagavan disappears. So what is the instruction? Etan matam samatishta. This is the instruction for every one of us. This is the command by God to each and every one of us. What is it? I am there as the very consciousness in you. Hold on to me alone. Paramena samadhina, with supreme conscience, with supreme concentration. Valuing this as the highest in life. The ultimate in life. This way, if you can live, even while living in this world, even while living in this miserable samsara, misery cannot touch you. Actions cannot touch you. Māyā cannot come anywhere near you. Saying this, Bhagavan disappears. And then Brahmājī, the direction where Bhagavan was there, he prostrates in all humility. And now Brahmājī starts the creation process. And then it is the very same Bhagavata, this knowledge, which he imparted to Narada Rishi. So now this Bhagavatam has called, it is called as, it has Dasha Lakshanam. So this is the last chapter of second canto. What are the 10 characteristics of this Bhagavatam, which was imparted by Bhagavan? So what are the 10 characteristics? So I'll just read the verse. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanamurtayah manvantareshānukatha nirodho muktirashrayah. What are the 10 characteristics of this Bhagavatam? Number 1, sargaha. Characteristics means what are the subjects covered in this Bhagavatam. Number 1, sargaha. What is sarga? It is called primary creation. Primary creation. What is this primary creation? It is creation from God. What are the things which are created? Number 1, Prakriti, Mahatattva, then Ahankara, and then the Pancha Mahabhutas. These are all created in the first one. Bhagavan himself has created. This is called as Sarga. The next one is called Visarga. Visarga means secondary creation, creation of Brahmājī. So what did Brahmājī create? He did not create 5 elements. They are all already there. What he created was the beings according to their vasanas. Living beings. Living beings were created by Brahmājī. The whole discussion will come in the next canto, third canto. How Brahmājī is creating one after the other. This is called as Visarga. This is the second topic. The third is Sthanam or Sthiti. In Sthiti, all activities of Bhagavan in order to maintain this world, that is discussed. Sthiti. Srishti, Sthiti, that one. How Bhagavan maintains this world. This is the third topic. Fourth one, Poshanam. Poshanam means nourishment. How Bhagavan protects the devotees. This is the fourth topic discussed in Bhagavatam. Poshanam. Fifth one, Uti. Uti means karma vasana. How different beings, based on their vasanas, are born. How the vasanas increase, etc. Uti means karma vasana. So this is fifth one. Sixth one, manvantara. The laws of righteousness, dharma, illustrated by the great people. How to live a dharmic life. So this dharmic life is the topic covered in Manvantara, sixth topic. Seventh one, Ishanukatha. Ishanukatha. Katha, the Leelas of Bhagavan and his devotees. This is the seventh topic. Eighth topic, Nirodha. Nirodha means how Bhagavan dissolves this universe. Pralaya. Bhagavan goes into Yoga Nidra and all the beings, they go back to their causal state, Karanas Sharira. When Pralaya happens, beings are not destroyed. Their causal body remains, Karana Sharira remains. Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira only is destroyed. Karana Sharira remains. So this topic is under Nirodha. Then ninth one, Muktihi. What is liberation? So liberation is nothing but abidance in one's own nature, one's own self. This is Mukti. And the 10th topic covered here is Ashraya. Ashraya means support, which is none other than Bhagavan. So all the 9 topics are meant for the 10th topic, Ashraya. So first one, Sarga, primary creation, where Bhagavan creates the necessary, what you call raw materials for creation. Second one is Visarga, the creation of Brahmājī. The third one is Thanam, the activities of the Lord in order to maintain the creation. Next one is Poshanam, protection of his devotees. Next is Uti. Uti means karma vasanas of the jivas, because of which they are born again and again. Manvantara. Manvantara means the laws of righteous living, which are exhibited by all great Mahatmas. This topic. Next one, Ishanukatha, Leelas of the Lord and the stories related to the devotees of the Lord. And next one, Nirodha. Nirodha means dissolution, Pralaya. Next one, Muktihi. Ninth topic is Mukti, how to get liberation. Last one, Ashraya Bhagavan. So these are the Dasha Lakshana of Bhagavatam. So this Bhagavatam was given to Naradji. Naradji gave it to Vedavyasa Rishi. Vedavyasa Rishi gave it to Shukabrahma Rishi. So with this, the second canto gets over. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.